Never have.
Besides, you don't like the board book thing, or you just like that paper?
I like that.
You
And I have
like the
jumps.
burning of a tree.
And my notes, I have, you see them, such note takers.
What is this? Just wait. It'll come. You ain't invited though.
Of course I'm in. Why wouldn't I be?
There we go.
That was the one time in my whole life.
Why ain't it showing it?
Are we closed?
Why ain't it showing it? We're live. Why ain't it showing it? Annette, I joined it.
You're not?
I'm in.
Why are they tricking you?
Yeah.
And bring my transition to.
Well, maybe
Inside the file cabinet?
why it keeps showing it?
And allow me to, your microphones are on if you want to be heard, but we're not being heard anyway. While we're waiting for them, I'll just talk to the crowd and go, geez, nice to see you all this evening. I'm glad. What a difference a year makes. 1 year ago, right? We were all like little tiles on our little screens. This is so much better to be here, even though we're spaced out. And in a year from now, we won't be spaced out. Maybe though. I don't know. Which brings us to, while they're doing that, our mask policy, which we're obviously in compliance because we're 6 feet apart from anybody. But if you have been vaccinated, you do not need to wear your mask. Okay, so you can take your mask off. Okay, if you haven't been vaccinated, you have to wear a mask and
Or be 6
try and-
feet apart.
Yeah, or stay 6 feet apart. So, so when you get within 6 feet and you haven't been vaccinated, put your mask on.
And
We
we
cer-
also understand there are lots of reasons you may wear your mask other than being vaccinated or not. We
Yeah.
understand that there are reasons for that, so no judgment here.
Absolutely. We had this discussion today. I'm so used to wearing my mask, obviously, because I'm a dentist. I went to sleep the other night with my mask on, and well, I woke up with my mask on, and I'm so used to it that I feel weird going into Lowe's without a mask. But we've all been vaccinated in the Ashton house. So, and especially if you're speaking up at the podium, we'd love you not to wear the mask unless you really, really need to, so we can understand you a little bit better. But if you want to wear your mask, you can wear it anytime you like.
No, I'm in.
Doctor, Doctor,
So that I can pull up the person. So,
you need help here.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't come up.
You want to do it in the
No, I
meeting?
just
You
want
want to do it in the meeting?
to say if they're speaking, please go to the podium so I can hear them. But I can't get, I don't know what's going on.
Your daughter was very sweet to me.
I wonder if that's the password that they.
Yeah.
The same link you sent us today?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true. It's,
That's crazy.
yeah, it is. It certainly is.
Well, hold on, I want to make sure the audio.
All right. But we're really close. I can feel it.
Yeah.
And I'll declare us back in open session because that doesn't have to be broadcast.
Wait, you're signing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going out with the meeting. Yeah. No. No, I just said that so I don't have to say it again, because now we're in open session.
Was she here before?
No.
Oh.
Make you want to put some lipstick on, like. Ah, that's okay.
Or they could do public comments over there.
Did you get that?
Everything
No,
else that is
To clarify that our mask mandate is still in
we're just waiting for.
So you just wait for her to know.
Make sure that that was for this meeting.
How can they hear?
She just waits for her to know.
How did they know?
Hey.
I didn't know we were online.
Miss Carey also needs some help with her board book. Keep saying username inappropriate.
If I'm not mistaken though, Dr. Geddes, we're still mandated for class mask, all students masking, aren't we? So just to clarify that, and I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but we're reading the Governor Pritzker's IDPH rules that masks are still mandated in classes, correct, everybody? Yes, until further notice. Although the good thing about that was that they said they're going to revise those mandates on a more frequent basis. That's what they said. They promised in my email that they're going to do that. So, following the CDC guidelines.
Do you have to put your whole email in?
I do. I didn't use it. I usually do.
So this would be really nice if someone had like a little stand-up routine. You know how they warm the audience up when you go like to the late night show, and we'd have someone come out here and and we'd all be laughing as soon as it comes on the air. We'd be laughing and happy, but I can't do that. So I'm sorry,
It's like
Mr. Hart. Yeah, Mr.
my kingdom.
we already had our fun in closed session.
We can wait to see, maybe by the time we get to her section, she'll be, in the meantime, just as long as nobody touches.
Capital A.
We can use that one. Actually, we can still go to that one, just don't touch the computer when they go.
86.
Put it off to the side, there we go.
You're setting up this.
So that
Said
Dr.
magic
Henderson
touch.
can participate from Eastern.
I'll tell you what. While we're waiting.
We can get started.
I'm starting. I'm gonna start. Would you please join me as we do the Pledge of Allegiance? Please? Pick a flag. Here. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Didn't that feel good? What? Okay, we're going on, right? Okay, we're going to go on, and we're in open session, and we have before us the consent agenda. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll wait for a second because, yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yes.
Mr. Dawes?
Yes.
Pastor Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader?
Yes.
Mrs. Holland?
Yes.
Dr. Ashton?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. That should bring us to public comments.
Yes, and I'd like to have the first public comment.
Go ahead.
So I want to address some information that was miscommunicated to the public about the meeting last week. Last week, we had a conversation, or 2 week, whatever, last board meeting, it was a facilities committee meeting. It was a follow-up to a meeting that started on March 9th, that meeting actually, October 21st, 2018, which was a public meeting where we addressed many of the things discussed last week. It was initiated by the state board's new guidance, which has been made public to everyone, the Illinois State Board of Education's lessons from the pandemic. In the meeting, my second time reviewing it, I discussed the financial considerations for developing your ESSER plans. I highlighted that within 30 days of receiving those funds, a district must make a 3-year plan, make it available for public comment for 30 days. I then said we intend to reconvene the transition teams for staff, parents, students to develop this plan. We have to align it to the school improvement plans. We have to use ISB's P20 guidance and layer and braid it all 3 of the ESSER funds. 20% of the money must be used to support learning loss. that we could supplant. There were transportation considerations, instructional considerations, equity and inclusion considerations, staff engagement opportunities, family engagement opportunities, resources, considerations for teachers. I then went on to talk about the P20 guidance. There are 12 sections to the P20 guidance. They ask that you focus on 3. Using the information from the parent, staff, and student comments shared with Liz Small and Mark Denman, the comments from parents, staff, and students seem to flow into 5 particular chapters of the P20 guidance. Chapter 1, support enrollment and retention, which would look like expanding alternative or pre-K. Chapter 2, building individual students, a fact base based on behavioral and student diagnostics. That looks like hiring people to come in and run your data. Chapter 4, providing out-of-classroom learning experiences, which will look like the partnership we have this evening with EIU. Mental wellness, Chapter 7, increasing flexibility for secondary and post-secondary opportunities. The guidance itself said too, and I will quote, "To use this money, consider using funds for new construction, renovation, or the acquisition of property that will aid in cleaning, sanitation, air quality, and social distancing." The examples they gave included classroom additions, new buildings, HVAC systems, renovations, outdoor seating, bathroom renovations, and cafeteria renovations. With that, took the information from parents, students, and staff, their comments, along with the comments from the Mark Denman report, and the conversation in that October meeting, and tried to remind people what was shared. Because thanks to the transition team, I am now aware that many people don't watch the board meeting, nor do they read the documents that we put on the website. So I started summarizing them and sending them out. Last week, I went over those things discussed over the last 2 years. Nothing was decided. What was discussed, you asked? Conversations about expanding pre-K. Someone asked, if we expand pre-K, can we get a new building? Not without a referendum. To acquire a new building, you need a referendum. Unless you do a backdoor referendum. Yes, I said it, transition team, it's called a backdoor referendum. You rent a building for a couple of years and then you go ahead and you've acquired it. Are there buildings that we've talked about that we could do? Yes, it is the building on Hart. Voorhees. We've actually visited. We would love to build a new pre-K center. That was part of the conversation. Someone asked, well, because in the Liz Small report, staff, students, and parents said, we don't want pre-K out in Southwest. We want you to bring it closer. What about Northeast? Comments from parents, students, and staff. So I went on to say, well, what would that look like? Okay, well, in order to do that, you'd have to move this here and this here. No one said that was what we were doing. We talked about expanding KDVA. What would that look like? We also talked about, from the comments from parents, students, and staff, closing Garfield. Their comments, not ours. What would that look like? Why would someone say that? What about the squirrels? What about the birds? What about the fact that that school is built on top of a city sewer? That was the conversation. What I got on Facebook was, we're closing Garfield. What it did was send my staff into a panic. No one said that. We examined the comments from parents, students, and staff. No decisions were made. The Board of Education then asked, well, go examine what the cost, because Skip and I had preliminary costs, some were over 2 years old. Go examine those things, knowing that you have to have meetings with parents, students, and staff before you develop this plan. That is what happened last week. Thank you.
Okay, It certainly did generate a lot of public interest, though. It was a very interesting week from the standpoint of emails and conversations all over, so I'm sure other board members have had that also. Any other public comments? Yeah.
Do I go over
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, go to. We're here. So we can hear you on this. Let me turn it on. Not that it's gonna amplify you. Okay. Can't see those.
Okay.
Yeah, you can-
Is it okay that I sit here? I don't want to take you out of your spot.
Who are you?
I'm Jamie Atudis, and I'm from Northeast. I'm here to represent the Northeast team, and it kind of builds on what you were saying, Dr. Geddes. We're just hoping to be part of the conversation. We understand it's a discussion of ideas, but we were really hoping that we can be part of this conversation because this idea has come up before. I remember one of my first years at Northeast, it was talked about. And so as part of the discussion, we were hoping to kind of share some questions we have, some ideas to kind of, like I said, just be part of the conversation. First, though, I would like to start off by saying thank you to the board members who visited us to learn about our student population. Sorry, I just got kicked. so sorry. And it was up. So I'm sorry. And to speak with us, we hope you come back to visit us. All of you are welcome at any time. It really is an open door there. Today, we as a school are here to address the board and our administrators about the comments made at the last meeting, understanding that it's a discussion. We are here as professionals who respect what you do. We know the position you're in. We really do. We understand that it is your job to constantly assess that the decisions you are making are in the best interest of the district's families, students, schools, and community. But hopefully you understand it's also part of our job to advocate for our students and our community and our school. Hopefully, we also recognize that the idea of moving Northeast to Liberty was presented as a discussion, and we just hope to be a part of it because, like I said before, it's come up before. I know we only have 5 minutes, so I was hoping to just read to you some of our thoughts, and maybe you can just consider them as you move forward with your plans. We don't expect answers now, especially Dr. Gus, because you explained it. It's a discussion. I have a copy of our ideas for you. You're more than welcome to take a copy. I don't know what's politically correct right now. Yeah, sure, or pass it down or whatever. So here's some ideas that as a staff we put together. Just some things to consider because we know that you're on a timeline and on a time crunch. And so just some things to maybe consider. We had a few questions that are directed specifically at the last board meeting, again, with the understanding that it was a discussion. But part of that is wondering, and I think you all said I can do this, sorry, is, if this is a discussion of ideas, what are the other options? Because, sometimes, actually many of us have watched the board meetings and sometimes things don't really seem like a discussion. So we're just wondering, what are those other ideas? We're also wondering, how does Northeast, like the magnet school program, lend itself to an open concept? It's never been one. And one of our concerns is that, like you, we've received some comments from parents saying, if it goes to an open concept, we'll remove our child. So that's a concern. We're also concerned about the students who we serve who might have like ADHD. We have some hearing loss students. And, with packed classrooms and being an open concept, we're concerned about how they would learn in that environment. And if we move while we are already at capacity, will you provide us with walls, windows, and an updated ventilation system? Because we all know those are hot right now. The ventilation system is huge. One thing that was mentioned, and you just brought up in the survey, is that they want preschool centralized. And one of the questions that we had was, why is it more important for pre-K to be centralized when the magnet school also takes in the kids from all over the community? What's the benefit? I lost my train. I'll just move on. We're concerned about the kids on the bus who already spend, about an hour on the bus too, which I'm sure that could come up with pre-K as well. And we're also wondering how moving Northeast to Liberty's open concept would enhance the achievement, learning, and growth of our Northeast students, as well as our other students affected by this plan. We're just really making sure that we look out for them too. And I know you are. As I said in the beginning, you're in a tough position. We all understand that. There's some logistical questions, though, that are tied to Northeast's current program that we were wondering about. For example, another discussion since I've been at Northeast is expanding the program. We've actually had a few conversations with board members about wanting to expand the Northeast program. And so we're wondering why we would move the location from Northeast, which has 11 acres, to one that doesn't seemingly have any room for growth. We currently have needs. We need staff. We need space. And those same needs would probably still be apparent at Liberty, we feel, especially since the sizes are somewhat comparable. So, our question would be, can we get the facility that we need to address, our current population and expand our program if that's the route that we're going to go? We're also just wanting to comment that, Liberty would most likely add to our wait list because we already have a wait list now. So how would those students also be fostered in, because they too are affected by this potential plan. We're curious about our greenhouse track and library. Those are all valuable items that were either donated to our school or made possible because of parents who raised the fund and actually did the work. How would we bring those with us? Would they come with us? And the track and greenhouse are also part of our healthy school concept, our health and wellness concept. And then lastly, just looking at, possible other options for pre-K. I just really want to say this because I'm not trying to ruffle anyone's feathers. It's just a discussion like everyone said, but we recognize that there are tough decisions you have to make regarding enrollment and building capacities, plus you have this 30-day period. However, with great respect to our colleagues at other schools, we're just curious, why can't pre-K stay at Southwest? That's one thing that we are curious about, and maybe redistrict some of the students if there's not capacity for the pre-K to 4 program. And then also, we looked at the standards for preschool, and it's a lot less structured than K through 12. And so we almost felt like the open concept might kind of lend itself better to preschool, because according to what we saw on the website, the daily schedule, well, first of all, Liberty's designed so staff can kind of supervise by sight and sound. But per the state guidelines, the child-to-staff ratio for pre-K classrooms must not exceed 1 adult to 10 children, and no more than 20 children can be served in a single classroom per session. Where here, I'm from 6th grade, so I'm thinking about these monster kids who are awesome, but they're big, and they, being squeezed in, whether it's 18 or 20, that's a little bit different when you're talking about small kids. Also, one thing that we saw is that the daily schedule needs to include a balance of large group, small group, and individual activities, including 65 minutes of choice time, including snack as a center, 130 minutes of no structured work, and when you compare that to the K through 6 schedule, we don't really have that unstructured time available. So overall, we were just curious if any of those options have been considered. And like I said, no answers are expected now. We get it's a discussion, but we're just hoping to be a part of it. That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ashton, may I respond briefly?
Sure.
Okay, normally we don't respond at public comments, but let me add on to what Dr. Geddes said. We had a discussion. We've been having a discussion for several years. It's only one possibility for Northeast moving to Liberty. You didn't hear one board member say that's what was going to happen. There's a lot of discussion still to go on, and we hope to hear from everybody. So I understand your concern. I'm sorry if you got the impression that these decisions were made, but as Dr. Geddes said, they have not been made. There's a lot, we're looking for input, and we will listen to everybody, but no decisions have been made.
Any other public comments?
Just got cleaning off.
And again, we were generous. We try to keep it in 5 minutes, okay? So, yeah, it was way over 5 minutes, so I'm watching, okay? So, in the future, I'm gonna get a little more strict as we go on. I'm new here, but I'm not that new, okay? So, seriously. Okay. No problem. I'm being kind, okay?
Good evening, Dr. Geddes and Board of Education. My name is Kim Corley. I'm a parent as well as a secretary of Northeast Elementary. And I just want to start by saying, Dr. Geddes, your anger came through loud and clear.
Because I'm disappointed.
Totally get it.
I'm disappointed in how my staff handled it. I'm disappointed in how it was reported because it was not accurate and it misled my staff and caused unnecessary, I had people crying. We had to have whole therapies. That was disappointing because it's, with all that we are going through, it was not needed.
I feel that on a deep level, actually. I'd like to be honest and start with, I was very hesitant about speaking with you guys tonight for fear of it coming back on me in some manner. I've never spoken to a board member regarding any of the things that have bothered me in our district because I am a staff member. I didn't want it to reflect poorly on me, the staff in the building I work with, or my principal. However, after I did speak with a member of the board about some of my concerns, I was assured my voice also matters since I am still a parent with 3 children in 3 different buildings within our district. Since the April 28th board meeting, I feel as if I have been defending our school, Northeast Elementary, against the racial implications made against our building by a board member. We have gathered data to show what our demographic numbers are and that the 6% black minority narrative is false. I have brought with me copies of the information for each of you to review if need be. I assume that this information was already distributed to you, but found out today that that might not have been the case. So if you need our information, I do have it. Within the packet, it also explains how the Northeast volunteer hours work. Now, on Monday, May 24th, the Northeast staff sent out invitations to the school board as well as the superintendent, inviting them to the Northeast staff to meet with the staff to discuss the situation and how it impacted our building because we too were hurt and lots of tears. Thank you to the 4 board members who responded and visited our school. We appreciated the opportunity to speak with each of you and to explain to you how Northeast works. Thank you for the apology we received as well. It meant a great deal to us. At the May 19th board meeting, a discussion was brought to the table about Northeast Elementary being relocated to Liberty so that a pre-K center could be implemented in our building. Again, we know it's just a discussion. We've been told for many years Northeast would be added on to increase our classrooms and build a gym for our students. Our families have literally poured sweat and blood into our buildings and grounds. The greenhouse, our new fit track, the parents have helped with all of that. Due to COVID, our students have not been able to use our fit track. Our families have reached out to the office and expressed their concerns about Northeast being relocated. Their major concern is the open concept classrooms at Liberty. None of our students are used to that style of learning. I personally do not know what I am going to do with my 2nd grader if we relocate. She already has sensory and attention issues and will not adjust well to that setting, nor be able to succeed in that setting. Our home school is Mead Park, who also has open classrooms. I do not want to leave Northeast. Again, I know it's not been said that that's what's happening. I'm just sharing my feelings. Several parents have expressed having to pull their children if we are relocating. Have we thought about doing a survey to see how many families would follow the school to Liberty if we were to be relocated? If the families do not follow, it could destroy the magnet school. Has that been considered? The busing situation was brought up at the last meeting as well for the pre-K center and how our building would be perfect. It is perfect for Northeast as well. We have students who live all over Danville and the Tilton area. We bus from all over. Some of our students are already on the bus for over an hour. And we are centrally located. If we were to be moved up north, what does that mean for our bus routes? I do realize Southview and Northridge students are bused in that manner, but there are older students. We have younger children. What other ideas have been explored for the pre-K center other than the Northeast building? I'm just proposing using the Liberty School for a pre-K center. I don't know if you guys have thought about that yet or not. This year has been exhausting for students, faculty, staff, families. We're tired, we're stressed, all of us. We've struggled through this pandemic together, sometimes in tears, sometimes in anger, but always together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Can I say one more thing about Northeast? It would have been nice if it had been reported that that conversation started with a discussion on adding to your gym, additional classrooms. All that was said before. We have the numbers for that because that was the direction we were given to look at how we could expand Northeast. If you notice the conversation, Skip and I didn't have the numbers because we had a discussion about the bathrooms that would be needed if it was pre-K and did it have to go into each class. I didn't have that information. That wasn't the direction. What I was answering was a specific question given to us by parents, students, and staffs as a part of this small report. What about that? What is ideal, and I said this, would be to build anew. We looked at the land across from Danville High School. We said students who had children it naturally lend itself. But to build it, I need a referendum. My comment also was, if I can't get a 1-cent sales tax passed, I probably cannot get a referendum that people wouldn't understand wouldn't increase their taxes because everybody says in Danville, my taxes are all about the school. And I said here, it's probably not going to fly. What we will probably have to do is renting and doing that kind of combination. It is ideal to do it that's not where this conversation started with Northeast. The Northeast conversation started with expanding Northeast. But that wasn't reported to you. So it's sent you guys. There were several conversations about doing anything but that. And I wish you guys had known. Thank you.
Any other? Great.
Good evening, board. My name is Cassie Thomas. I am a kindergarten teacher at Northeast, and I have been asked to read a parent letter. So I'm the messenger in this situation. Dr. Geddes, thank you for clarifying that this has been a discussion. I hope that will ease some of these tensions. Speaking of tensions, here I go. Dear school board members, I'm a parent whose children attend Northeast Magnet School. I would like the board to consider our feelings when making the changes that will impact my children's learning. Currently, our children are doing well in maintaining the correct learning environment even through this COVID-19 chaos. I know that the school board is doing the best to support our children, but why make these changes that will change our students' learning ways? I also feel it was addressed very sneaky and unprofessional. The staff and kids have already been through enough with the 2021 school years. Why can't Liberty become the mission for preschool? There are several reasons I feel our kids do not need to make this change. Obviously, the first is that they've been through enough. Sometimes you have to say enough, and I feel that this is the time. So enough putting pressure on our students, enough changing the ways they learn, and enough making changes to their daily security. Enough. Our kids love their school, and it's what they know. I am fully supportive of making necessary changes, but I do not support these. This will affect our children's daily activities and learning, and it is not fair for them. I did not sign my students up for Northeast for them to have an open concept learning. My kids are doing good with learning techniques given, and I feel altering their environment will be a distraction and cause many hiccups in the way they learn. Expanding Northeast is a great opportunity for growth. The kids' discipline, education, safety, and health have never been a concern for us while they are there. I know it will create so many possibilities with an expansion. I appreciate the time and effort the school board puts in protecting the safety and learning of our children, and I look forward to hearing from you on this matter. If you would like to discuss this request further, please contact me, and I'll have a copy of this letter if you'd like this phone number. Thank you for your time, service, and consideration, Ryan Shull, Northeast parent. To kind of follow that up, again, I want to thank you for clarifying that it's a discussion, and I hope that this discussion of the expansion of Northeast will kind of continue and that we can put some of these fears to rest. Thank you very much.
Any other public comments? Then I've got one. My wife reminded me to say this. So honey, if you're watching, okay? Oh, man. I always regret saying that anyway. We are original Northeast parents. Our son was the first class in Northeast, okay? We were in Gail Garner's living room putting your charter together about parent hours, uniforms, and all that stuff. And both of my children have gone to Northeast. So I'm very sympathetic, and I understand how protective you are of that school, okay? Because I would be also. So we listen to you. We hear you. I mean, it's not, and we're not going to be surprised that we're going to get a lot of comments from Northeast parents because the reason why you're there is you are motivated parents. And I would be disappointed if I didn't hear public comments from Northeast. But I can guarantee you that the board hears all the comments and reads all the emails and gets it, okay, where you're coming from, okay? And you've heard it. Have we decided? We haven't decided. Someone in 3 years is not going to be happy, okay? And I'm not saying it's Northeast, okay? It may be one of my nephews. It won't be my children, but someone is not going to be happy in 3 years at whatever plan that we have that we're going to do, okay? And that's unfortunate. I'm going to apologize now. It isn't because we're not going to listen, and it isn't because we're not going to weigh the pluses and the minuses, and we're trying and to do the least damage as possible. Seriously. So, I mean, bear with us as we go through this. Feel free to contact us. I mean, obviously we welcome this. Okay, so we need to hear. I mean, if you're really, really upset, we really, really want to know. Okay, so it is very helpful to us. But I want to let you know that my wife told me to say that. Okay, that I am an original Northeast guy, and if you think that I don't get it, I get it. I mean, I understand everything that goes on there and why you guys love it so much. So we don't want to destroy it. We don't want to wreck it. We want to nurture it, and we want to make it better because it only makes our district better. So I mean, we'll do everything we possibly can. Any further comments?
Well, in light of that, I want to point out too that I want to say kudos to the staff and kudos to the parents because you make our district look good. When the community brings new businesses to town and they want to sell education in this community, they take them to Northeast to take a look. So we are aware of what you bring to our district. We are aware of your success in test scores and so forth. I'm just saying that I want to protect that as well. We acknowledge that that's what you do for us.
Are we good?
If it doesn't work and we can't get,
We can go.
if we cannot get Dr. Henderson, I got it. I have the paperwork. We're gonna roll tide. All right,
All right.
let it go.
Sorry. We've been trying to hook up with,
Dr. Henderson, Dean from Eastern. It's okay. I have the paperwork.
because we have fantastic news.
Because I'm also tonight, I'm Skip tonight, I'm Zeta tonight, I can be Dr. Henderson tonight. I roll the wall. Let's
Well,
go.
I'm looking forward to
Let's
this
go.
because, okay, that brings us to item number 6, partnership with Eastern Illinois University. We have a lot of great news in the next couple items here.
Yes.
Well, we hope you think it's good news. We think it's great news.
So good evening, I'm Dr. Henderson, Dean of,
No, you aren't.
no, I'm putting that out there. So, is that a picture that you guys? No? Okay. All right, so Dr. Henderson, new Dean of the College of Education at Eastern. You may be aware that 6 years ago, when I came to the district, I had the vision of bringing what we call the in-house grow your own program that we had up north, where staff who are in our district could stay in our district and earn their teaching certificate. It's a partnership that I had with Chicago State, and I wanted to bring it here. I approached Eastern, and I worked for 6 years to get it, ran into every single obstacle until I met her. And so she is actually going to make that a reality for us. What I'm asking for tonight is that the Board of Education consider first the teacher licensing program, which is, we will have to enter in a memorandum of understanding with the union. But what we would like to offer to our staff, one of three options. First, the cohort at Champaign. It is a 2-year program with 60 credit hours, approximately $20,000. We could send our teaching assistants, anyone holding an associate's or bachelor's degree in-house. The benefit to the program is that the district will pay the tuition. So it's not a reimbursement model. We will pay the tuition. The employee will need to sign a 5-year commitment and a promissory note to teach at District 118, or they would have to return that tuition. So what we're trying to do is grow our own, right? Because we have, I can think of in TAs alone, we have 39 TAs with associate degrees, we have 29 with 30 credit hours, 39 with associate degrees, and 39 of them with bachelor's degrees who can't make it to the teacher salary schedule. And that's almost a difference of about $20,000 in their pay if we could get them licensed in this teacher shortage. So that's option one. Option two looks like, it's really the Golden Apple residency model. We have 6 TAs who are already in process. They couldn't wait for me. It's been 6 years. Couldn't wait for me, so they got started. They have already completed their practicums and they need to do their student teaching. What I'm asking the Board of Education is to allow them to continue working. They would keep their salary, or ASAP, because I have one discrepancy, keep salary, and we would pay the remaining tuition for them so that they could go ahead and become teachers. They would sign a 3-year commitment with District 118 and a promissory note to the same. The third version of that model with Eastern for our staff would be a Danville District 118 and Eastern cohort beginning 2023. Teachers or TAs, people without degrees. So this is for the person who does not have a bachelor's degree or an associate's, right? That person could sign up now. They could do, and Dr. Nacko has blessed this. They could do their courses, the general ed courses at DAC now, and they will start with a cohort that will be in-house beginning 2023. I'm asking the Board of Education to pay that tuition, and what we're asking, because that tuition is more, remember there's the DAC component and there's the Eastern component, we're asking that they sign they give a 7-year commitment to the district and sign a promissory note. So 3 versions of a program to increase our teaching pool and actually strengthen the staff that we already have who are committed to Danville District 118, and I'm asking for your approval this evening.
Okay. Well, you have a recommendation that we approve that, correct?
I do.
Could I have a motion for that recommendation to be approved?
I'm sorry, Dr. Ashton, I don't know what we're including.
So we're approving the partnership with Eastern to actually make this program available. There will be a separate memorandum of understanding that we will do with the union, and then there will be individual promissory notes and contracts signed with the people who sign up for that program with Eastern.
Can we do it prior to the memorandum of understanding?
Well, before I go into with the union, I need to
Have-
tell Eastern that I'm going to do this program.
I see.
Program.
This is some,
Oh, there she is. Dr. Henderson, I was you for a minute.
Hello.
I would have done you proud.
So
I know you did. I know you did.
tell her what is there anything you would like to have her say on it?
So, I summarized the 3 versions of the licensure program. I talked about the cohort at Champaign and who would qualify for participation with that. I talked about the Golden Apple residency model program, option 2. And then I talked about the Danville EIU cohort 2023 program and gave all the particulars. And so what I'm asking now is the Board of Education bless the partnership between the 2 of us, so then I can enter in a memorandum of understanding with the union and then enter into contract with the teachers. So at this point, I'm asking for a recommendation. I gave a recommendation, so I need them to do a motion in a second, and then we can have conversation about it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm still waiting for a motion in a second so we can.
I still don't understand what we're agreeing to. We're just agreeing to a concept that we will partnership with Eastern to do this. If that's the case, I will clearly.
Yes,
make
That-
a motion, or we write, is something written up, are we signing something? We're
Once,
just-
once I have on the record approval from you,
That we want to go that
that we
direction.
want to go that direction,
I move that we
Yes,
follow
thank
Dr.
you.
Geddes' recommendation.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Here we go.
The student teaching would be in our district.
student teaching would be in our district. I'm sorry, I'm no longer Dr. Henderson. Go ahead, Dr. Henderson.
The student teaching would be in the building in which the student is located. So if they're a full-time sub or a para, our intention is that the practicum and the student teaching would be in that building. Our intention also is that they will return to that building as a licensed teacher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a term for how long that we would, I mean, is it, are we gonna do this for like, say, a 10-year commitment so that we can know, that we can plan as we do this?
So it's not the term.
I just threw the number out. I have no idea. Okay.
So the cohort at Champaign is a 2-year program.
Yeah.
The program where 2023 doesn't even start, so they would actually start at DAC first, get their general education credits done, and then begin the 2-year program at a cohort here. The TAs, the middle one where the TAs are in progress, they actually just need to complete their student teaching and some remaining classes. So it's very fluid. It depends on where you land in one of those 3 options.
I understand, but I want for continuity, I want to go, oh, we're just tired of this after a year. I don't want people to get stuck in the middle. I want to make sure that everybody gets to continue through the program. So,
So we have a cohort in Danville that's running currently. And we are making a commitment to Danville to do another cohort in 2023. So we have, in essence, already made a 6-year commitment to Danville.
first of all, I want to be on the record. This is unbelievably positive, and I think it's awesome. Okay, so I want to be on the record that I'm for this and not against it, but there's just a couple questions because we never, now we're in open session. I'm looking for what kind of commitment can you estimate, and what kind of capacity can this program substantiate? Can they take 15, 20? Is there a limit of how many people we could send and put in this program?
Our intention is to, in 2023, is that your question about capacity in 2023 or capacity in 2021?
How about both?
Capacity in 2021, we are scheduled to offer the program in Champaign. We have 71 students who are interested, and the majority of the interest is in special ed, as we would expect. I have told the department chair of special ed that she has permission to open a second section of the course. Her concern is just finding a faculty member to teach the course. So once we get commitments by students, we'll govern ourselves accordingly. Our intention in 2023 is to offer elementary education and special education, and again, to respond to the needs. So we have a cap on our courses at 22. So if we get 40 students, we'll just offer 2 sections. Now, I need to remind you that we're also looking to Danville to help us find faculty members. My intention is that half of the courses will be taught by EIU faculty and half of the courses will be taught by adjunct faculty who are currently principals, superintendents, senior teachers, so that there is some culturally relevant instruction and some instruction that's firmly grounded in Danville and Danville's reality.
Do you hear that?
I'm not listening to her.
That was excellent. Didn't look to board
I'm a
members.
little tired.
Yeah, not looking at board members. All right. Any other questions, comments?
About that one.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Dr. Henderson, so question is, so if an individual is a teaching assistant in District 118, and then they do their practicum, how do they do the practicum while they're a teaching assistant?
They, if they're special ed, they need a variety of experiences with children across the spectrum. So our intention is that they would stay in that building and that the principal would hire a sub for them so that they can go into another classroom because they have to do early childhood and elementary and middle school. But they will stay in that district for their experiences. They will also stay in that district for their student teaching experience.
And so while they're doing their student teaching, they wouldn't be a TA. There would have to be a sub TA for them. And,
Correct.
but you do the student teaching, right? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Just a comment. Nice to meet you, Dr. Henderson. I'm an EIE grad. But I think that this is an excellent program. I think it's an excellent program. We've been asking for Grow Your Own, and I think that it's an excellent opportunity for us. I'm just hoping that we will be able to continue to get people that are vying for the program and willing to do what is needed to be done.
Thank you for your support. We appreciate it. We are very much interested in a partnership, and we're looking for you to do some of the lift as well.
Okay. Well, let's take the first step. So,
One last comment, Dr. Henderson. I'm an ISU grad, okay? And so, but I still appreciate all your efforts.
I'm an ISU grad too. So it's all good. Thank you. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
well, I'm not an ISU or an Eaton grad, so
We
let's,
know.
yeah, we won't say what I am. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Garber,
Yes.
Mrs. Holler,
Yes.
Mrs. Kidd,
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Dr. Ashton.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Thank you. So we're on our way.
We're on our way. And,
Go ahead.
and next, I want to thank Dr. Henderson again. She, for this vision of a summer dual enrollment course at EIU for rising high school seniors of color who are interested in becoming teachers. For the program expected to start June, actually 13th, with class on the 14th through July 2nd. Dr. Henderson, would you like to tell us about that program?
Our intention with this program is to offer students of color the opportunity to try out college. When I was younger, I would supervise those summer bridge programs with TRIO, and I never was satisfied with the output. The intention of those programs is to acclimate students into college and prepare them for college success. Instead of offering students an opportunity to try out college and to play college, we would like to offer them just an opportunity to come to college and take a college course. So between June 14th and July 2nd, students have the opportunity to take 2555, which is the whole child, is lifespan development. They would go to class on Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. The course is taught just by a regular EIU professor. And on Tuesdays and Saturdays, they would have their practicum experiences. So there's a child care center across the street from our building where students will go. The middle school is in session, and we're working with Fit to Serve, which is a community organization, and students will have an opportunity to view children in those three settings. They will have a structured study hall that will be supervised by a graduate student in curriculum and instruction. And in the residence halls, they will be supervised by two undergraduate education majors, one female and one male. Um, they will have pizza night and bowling and some social events. They'll also have an opportunity to visit with some current EIU education majors and some teachers as well. There is a faculty member who is charged with supervising them outside of class. And again, we have the three EIU students who will supervise them. We ask that you would consider offering them high school credit as well as college credit, but we understand if you don't have the ability to do that in such a short time period. Tuition, housing, dining, books, t-shirts, transportation runs $13.75. We are asking that the school pay it and not ask the students to pay it. And the other schools that we're working with, District 214, District 99 is at Downers Grove, Champaign, and Urbana, are all using their educational pathway funds to pay the tuition. We can arrange for transportation. Here in the time of COVID, I don't want students who don't have transportation trying to figure out how to get here. We can send a van to the high school and bring the students on campus and then bring them back. We have minivans that will take students to their practicum experiences and to their field trips. Because it is an extremely intensive program, we are looking to enroll rising seniors, those students who will be seniors in the fall. Hopefully, the students will enroll in EIU. Hopefully, they'll fall in love with Charleston and enroll. If they won't, that's fine. They will have a 3-credit course college transcript that they can attach to their college application and to prove that they are successful at college level work. Any questions, concerns, comments, angst?
I think it's awesome. That's my comment.
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you guys want to approve that, we would probably need to have a motion.
It's a motion to do what? Pay the tuition? That's the motion?
Well,
To enter into the partnership with EIU for the summer dual enrollment course and pay the tuition.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Now, questions or comments? Are we paying we will be paying that, we will, and I would assume. And I'm gonna echo their thoughts. It sounds like a great opportunity for our students to experience a little bit of college. I like that, a little bite of college. And once you get the taste of it, we know what will happen. Everybody in this room. So I hope you all successfully pass college. I'm gonna assume. Any other comments or questions?
Dr. Geddes, do we currently have students interested in the program?
Well, since this was, I think we've had this for less than 4 days, Dr. Henderson. I have 15
Absolutely.
students for you. And
Really?
we've met, see, I'm not playing. We have 15
Wow.
students and we're doing the parent contacts. We've done 8 of them so far. We've met with the students, but now we want to have the conversation with the parents. And then I'm gonna have an information, once we have spoken to all the parents, I'm gonna have an informational with them so they can see me. And you know I'm gonna show up, right? Because I just need to check on my babies. All of them. And yeah, but we have 15 in the hopper right now.
So I would be more than happy to attend that information session with you. I
You told
would
me.
suspect that parents would want to see a face of someone at EIU.
I'm gonna take you up on that. You told me that.
I have a question. That's a great start. But what I want to know is this for the first year? Are we looking at a continuation?
This is my first year at EIU. I started at EIU in July of 2020. And so this is my first summer. Our intention is to continue the program.
Okay.
When we came up with the idea, we didn't know if we would get enough students. We didn't know if the high schools would be willing to pay. It seems that right now people are using that educational pathways money. You know, if the money's not there, will high schools still be willing to pay? We're going to try it as long as we can get enough students to make the class go. We need a minimum of 10 students to cover our costs. And right now, I think we have 16, with not counting your students.
Trying to have the Danville cohort.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Any others? If not, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Henderson. I apologize for the delay in trying to get you hooked up, but thank you for your patience.
Thank you. I'm glad it worked out.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Is there anything else? I'm sorry?
I was just saying, I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that brings us to item 7. Association of School Boards, membership dues.
So I am recommending that the Board of Education continue its membership with the Illinois Association of School Boards for the 2021-2022 school year.
Oh, don't do this. Okay, good. For the amount of
I knew you were gonna say that. I lost my-
$10,354. Is that what it is, guys?
That is,
It's really small on my screen. I think that's what it is. Let me magnify that. And
they were pleased to announce that the dues will not increase from this year to next year. So it's the same, at the same level.
isn't that kind of them? 10,354. Illinois Association of School Boards. May I have a motion and a second, please?
Move approval?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Great, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
No.
Who?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's 4-2, but it passed. So, thank you. Let's see, that, item number 8, ownership and education.
Good evening, Board, and it's that time of year again. The Ownership and Education Committee was chaired by Ms. Robin Fluno and Ms. Betsy Porter this year, as it was last year, and I gave the ladies the night off and told them, don't worry about it, I'll handle it. We use Google Meets as our mode for meeting, and I'm happy to say that actually, as a result, we had more people in OIE meetings this year than we've ever had, because we use Google Meet. So we were talking next year, we might do a hybrid combination, attend and in person and or on Meets if you want. So that was a good thing that came out of it. We had 3 monthly meetings. Basically, it was March 23rd, April 28th, and then May 11th. The summary of changes for this year, this is a first reading, so please take time and digest it, but very quickly. We looked at disciplinary infractions and we cleaned up some language to be more specific. The word disrespect was deleted. The conversation around that is disrespect is something you feel after a behavior has occurred. What is the behavior is usually verbal aggression. We had no definition of any type of verbal aggression in the OIE. So we found a definition for verbal aggression, deleted disrespect, and we also included under verbal aggression, because it was omitted, hate speech, which is something that was absolutely suggested that we needed to add. And other schools have gone to that route as well. We got rid of vandalism, deleted the word vandalism, used damage to property, used the vandalism definition, but also added intentionally in there. That students intentionally damage property is the infraction. And again, this was all for clarity's sake. Threatening and intimidating acts, we did more specific definition and added district property as a part of that, because we had some principals express that they had students that actually threatened to damage property, but they didn't actually damage it. So to be specific, we decided to add that. Absolutely, because we changed some disciplinary infractions, we had to also then just adjust those the table with the penalties, so it was just, if you had verbal aggression, we added verbal aggression and kept the consequences. Unexcused absence and unexcused tardies for grades K through 6 were updated to reflect consistency. It might have been an error or inconsistent, but there was actually a greater penalty for tardiness than there was for absence, which the primary level felt that that was really not something that they would get behind. And then the last two pieces were just language added to our policy based on policies that were adopted by the board. One was the Title IX policy was updated to reflect all new language that was put into board policy in January 2021. And then the policy adopted for Student Online Personal Protection Act, the SOPA language, had to be added to the Computer Network and Internet Safety piece. And again, for reference, I think if you read the memo, it's the easiest way for the board. You can go right to the page numbers and see exactly what was added. And again, this is a first reading. And I want to thank the committee tremendously, as well as Mrs. Fluno and Mrs. Porter.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? No, we'll be able to ask them again. So, if not,
Comment.
Yes.
It was sure clearly stated what your changes are. It was very easy to read.
Thank you.
okay. Item 9, special education. 9A, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. State Performance Plan, IDEA, SPP. For those who
Good
like.
evening, Board. Dr. Geddes, I'm Molly Bailey, the Director of Special Education. And for that long title, I have just some information about our state performance plan for Indicator 4. This is Indicator 4 requires an analysis of your suspension and expulsion of students with disabilities. And Indicator 4A is the percent of districts identified by the state as having significant discrepancy in the rates of suspension and expulsion for children with disabilities, which is suspending them greater than 10 cumulative days in a school year. And 4B is the percent of districts that have significant discrepancy by race or ethnicity in the rate of their suspensions or expulsions for greater than 10 days. District 118 was cited for both 4A and 4B. I can tell you that I have been a part of many Indicator 4 plans. I helped Mr. Henderson when he was back as interim. I helped Mr. Hart when he was the Director of Special Education. I've written one every year as the Director of Special Education. So I'm seasoned at writing these plans. They do change every few years, and this year was one of those years where they asked us to do a case review of the students, the specific students who were suspended for greater than 10 days. So Mrs. Nixon, Mrs. Weber, and myself pulled out all those files, both the principals helped us with the discipline files, and then also their IEP files. And we looked through and looked at each meeting that was held and each suspension. I'm happy to report there were no expulsions. It was just suspensions. And so we went through and we looked at, are the processes being followed? Are we following the laws? All of those things. And we came up with 4 goals because that's what they request of us each year, is to come up with goals. This year we looked at the goals a little bit differently. In a typical year, we look at what kind of PD can we provide, what more supports can we provide, and each year, actually last year, ISB called me and they said, you're doing so many things, but your suspension rates are still not going down. And they have dropped since we've done Senate Bill 100. We've certainly made progress, and we go up a little bit, we go back down. And so they always give us you're in the clear after we submit the plan, because they recognize we are doing so many things. So this year I took a little bit of a different goals to see if this kind of helps. So I looked at providing our special education staff that some more training, and I'm hoping to bring our attorneys to talk about functional behavior assessments, behavior intervention plans, manifestation determinations, and just the laws and giving them some of the whys and some of those processes. I'm hoping that will help our teams, because what we're noticing when we did the file review is we're doing a lot better in a student might receive only, recognizing that our IEP kids are different, and we do need to look at that differently in each case differently. And they might get 1 suspension day here and 1 there, but when you do that, and then it adds up, and then maybe they have a more major infraction, and so then they get those 10 days. And then I'd like to change kind of our procedures. some of our kiddos are not getting, if we suspend them over 10 days, we do need to provide them with services for any day, for the 11th day and beyond. And we are not doing that in our procedure. So I'd like to include one of either Ms. Dixon or myself in the meetings, because I want to make sure our kids are getting what they are entitled to. And then I'd like to review regularly our building level discipline data. And this might be due to COVID, but we, in the file review, we recognize that 4 of our kids actually were not suspended for more than 10 days. We changed, shortened those and put them on virtual and things like that, but we reported it inaccurately to the state. So I'd like to review the data a little more often so that we make sure that what's going to the state is actually what we're doing. And then I would still like to, utilize that partnership with Dr. Tan from the U of I and Midwest PBIS, because the first step is positive behavior interventions and the positives. And so I want to continue to strengthen that, which we are well on our way to doing. So we are required next school year at this time, I'm required to report on did we do all those things and prove to them how we did them. And hopefully we will not get an indicator for citing next year. But in my files, I looked back in the files, and I can always look back at Mr. Henderson, Mr. Hart's files, and I found all the way back to 2010 is what I have in my office. So I know that we've been getting this for at least that many years.
Any questions?
I do. So indicator 4A, can you tell me again what indicator 4A means?
Sure, it's a discrepancy in the rates of suspensions, expulsions of students with disabilities for greater than 10 days in a school year.
What does it mean, a discrepancy? A discrepancy between?
Us and the rest of the state.
So does that mean disproportionately I have more students with IEPs who are suspended when compared to the state?
Yes.
Okay, and so indicator 4B, what does that mean?
It's for by race or ethnicity, which ours is Black or African American students with IEPs are suspended at higher rates than their peers across the state.
And so once upon a time, did we also have a problem with our expulsions?
We did.
Okay.
Yes.
And so while we've done many things and we don't have this problem with the expulsions, consistently, we have higher suspensions for students with IEPs and for Black and brown students with IEPs when compared to the state.
Correct.
Would you also say that that is true for our students without IEPs? That our numbers are higher than the state?
Yes.
Let me help you with that. They absolutely are. In fact, we have more suspensions than Chicago Public, I believe, don't quote me. I'm doing this from memory. Please don't quote me. I know, I remember, I think we had more than Kankakee, Decatur, Peoria. I know we had more expulsions than Chicago Public Schools, and there was another big one. But I think I said Peoria.
I think it was Springfield.
Oh, Springfield. While our numbers don't compare at all,
Correct.
we exceed them in suspensions and expulsions.
Yes.
And so Board of Education, I think many of the things that you are trying to do, like expanding alternative programs, strengthening SES, those things will, and training our staff on some of the ACEs that exist, and the Michael Remley
Rising Tide.
Rising Tide. Those things will help us address our students differently. But I do know from the conversations with Luda that if we don't get a hold of this, we'll be facing some uncomfortable circumstances.
Dr. Geddes, that said, in both of the reports that you referenced, the Liz Small report and the strategic plan, one of the issues that have come up over and over again is the issue of discipline, or might I say, lack of discipline. So it's a double-edged sword that we're facing. We have a problem with discipline as parents perceive it, a problem with safety as they perceive it, and then we have these statistics. And
That say
so
we outperform the state, yeah.
yeah, so just point that out. That's,
One of the things I noticed in the file review and, that we talked about is, we're always supposed to do positive and proactive things first. And it felt as though a lot of the things, and for lack of a better way to say it, are copy and pasted. These are the things we do for everyone. But I think that what we can try to do is to find things in lieu of suspension. We've done it in lieu of expulsion wonderfully. Can we do things in lieu of suspension, or proactively, what can we do? One of the things that we had to look at in the files was to determine, did they look at each case individually? And did they consider the circumstances of those students? We didn't find a lot of documentation that we did that very well. We would find, and Ms. Nixon would say, oh, here, I found this. And I would write it, jot it down. So we found it in pockets. I think that that's something that we can improve upon. And that's why I really want to focus on our special ed teams, on the social workers we have left for next year, and on our psychs and on our teams and our principals and, the people that are on the ground. Or what kind of things can we help support you with and provide so that we can look at those case by case and provide some of those things in advance of, we have the list now. I know all the kids that we suspended for over 10 days. And I'd like to start with those kids in the fall to ensure they have a good plan.
Molly, you're speaking of special ed, and I know Dr. Geddes, you, as the former hearing officer, I look across the total board. And I agree with you. Cut and paste. I agree with you. But my concern is, I don't want our black and brown kids to get in their head that I can act any kind of way and I'm not going to be suspended. I don't want that out there. I want them to know that you will be held responsible for your actions. Not by suspension, but responsible for your actions. The other part of that, I think, is looking at trying to pull in your home interventionists, because that's where I say responsible for your actions, because we need those parents then to come in to help with that. I know you're basically speaking of special ed, but we've got problems across the board.
Sure.
And so
I didn't do the
I would
file
hope,
review of all of them, Miss Carrie. That might have taken me a while.
yeah. So I would hope that what we're going to do is pull in some of these other people so that we're kind of locking in, but letting them know we still have expectations. Whether you call it disrespect or not, we still have expectations for how our students act, how our students respond to adults, and how our students respond to rules. And we need everybody at the table on that.
I will say that because I've been helping with these plans for quite a few years, disrespect used to be the number one. And the suspension after suspension for disrespect. It was more for physical aggression at this point. So we are trying to intervene, for those other behaviors. We're trying to work and do the things. And so I can say that I've seen that over the trend. And I also, a few years ago, we put in place that at 5 days of suspension, that we needed a behavior intervention plan. And I think that that's a start, but I think now we need to make those more usable documents and put actual interventions in those things and utilizing whatever the staff supports for that. So I hope to kind of beef those plans up and make them more usable for our staff and our administrators.
I wanted to ask, when I heard all of these other different districts having less than us, some of those districts are larger than our district. We're missing it somewhere. I don't know what they're doing, but I wonder, have you been able to reach out to the other districts and see what is their procedure that makes them have less than us? Because I don't believe our students are any different than what's around the state. So somewhere along the line, there's something happening within our district that is causing our numbers to be high?
I can tell you that I meet with the other area directors of special ed on a monthly basis, and we talk about different things like this often. Number one, the rule is you don't suspend special ed kids for more than 10 days no matter what in other districts. It's just not allowed because of this, because year after year, you know, it can affect your money eventually. So the other districts just say it's not an option. And a lot of districts have a lot more alternative programs for kids, especially with IEPs. When I took the job at 16 teachers down, we took our teacher out of KDBA and haven't been able to fulfill that back, and now there's not room. So as I've been talking to some of the high school teachers about some things, it's coming up that we need alternative options for our special ed kids specifically, and I'm sure other kids, but you know, my job's special ed, so I'm gonna advocate for that. But you know, 1,500 kids is a lot of kids, and for them to walk the high school, or even 700 or 800 at Northridge is a lot of kids. And so some they need smaller settings, they need a more personal touch, and so I know that a lot of districts have a lot of alternative settings and programs for kids.
And we haven't been able to offer that at this point to our students.
No, we don't have a special education teacher at KDBA currently. We're just at the spot where we kind of had almost all our special education openings filled, and we're struggling with that a little bit again this year, so going into next year. But there's not a classroom available at KDBA, I don't believe, and we don't have a teacher that we can place, because we kept that classroom small at 10 kids. So the choice was made to close that classroom so that we could, you know, at Danville High School, you can serve a lot more than 10 kids. So we moved the teacher there.
So it sounds like it's at a point, Dr. Gittes, that it's critical that we do something now. I'm thankful for the new program, Grow Our Own. This is gonna help us get some more staff in place, because evidently we don't have enough staff in place. We don't have enough space to handle these students, but the end result is that we can end up being in trouble on the state board.
Mrs. Bailey and then Dr. Geddes, both in light of our future planning and some of the things that you talked about, how many of our social work support staff, social work and support staff, and special ed teachers will be attending Rising Tide? It's right here in our own neighborhood.
I've put it out a couple times, and I think we have about 10 staff members right now signed up.
Are we paying the tuition, or are we asking them to pay their own?
No, we paid it this
all their
year.
travel.
But we only have 10 out of all of our staff.
And she's put it up multiple times.
Okay, see, that's a problem.
It is the week after school.
I realize.
Is that-
I realize.
But last year, when it was in the midst of school, how many people did we have?
About the same. About 10.
And we paid the tuition then too, right?
And it was all virtual. And this year they can choose virtual or in person. We do have 4 or 5 administrators, I believe.
Of the 12.
Yes.
Well, we wish you good luck on this. Any other comments or anything?
Might need it.
Slide a notification.
We expect total success 1 year from now. Thank you. You have your hands full.
No pressure.
And we'll do everything we can to support you. Item number 10. Business, finance. Appointment of a treasurer and bond recommendation. What do you have for us? Who are you?
Good evening, Board. Dr. Geddes, the 118 family. I am Narcissus Rankin, Business Director. This evening, I am recommending that the Board appoint a treasurer, Mrs. Whitney Sokola, effective for 1 year, starting July 1st. And so this will be Ms. Whitney's second year with the business office, and she has definitely been an asset, and she has been continuing to thrive in the position. So, in addition, this position is the only position in the district that's required to be bonded. So I have attached an invoice for the issuance of her bond. The amount is $1,862. And this is just the difference between, so in March, I bought her bond because it ended at the end of March.
Because she came mid-year.
Because she came mid-year, and so just so it'll go with when I recommend her for the fiscal year, we made the adjustment. So there's a little extra to cover the March to June 30th of next year.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, congratulations, motion passed 6-0. We're very happy.
Yay, wait.
Okay, anything else?
Yes. The next thing I am asking that the board continue our membership with Vermillion Advantage. Of course, you guys know that they are the community organization that promotes our community, stimulates economic growth, and boosts real estate development. And they have been, I know in the past, partnering with the district to recruit highly qualified staff. And so the membership investment for 2021 is $6,000.
Does that relate? Okay, we need a motion before I can say
Yeah,
something.
do we have a motion for approval? Someone wants this.
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second? Oh, someone seconded it, I'll second it. I'll second it. Okay, any questions, comments? Obviously, Mrs. Halloran has one.
Thank you. I realize a lot of things changed during the pandemic and then has affected a lot of things. Do we have the service from Vermillion Advantage, the relationship that we have enjoyed in the past? Are we still getting the same benefits?
I would say we are. As I sit on the executive board now for Vermillion Advantage, we've been very influential in some of the economic development. And in fact, it is our policies are actually, it's mutual, let me say that, because the community has looked to District 118 to establish their own organizational policies. And we've been able to build our partnership for my WESEPT students and what's my other program? WESEPT, I can't think of the other one. Anyway, and the CTE partnership. And so we look for those to grow, particularly as Mr. Heil is conducting our CTE summer school. So.
We sure need to get the word out.
What does that mean?
It means that we, if I don't know as a board member how we benefit, then our community doesn't know how we benefit. And I guess it means we need a public relations officer. Can we
That
have
would
it?
be
Yeah.
nice.
Somehow we need to get the word about good things out to the public, is what that means.
So moved. No? Okay.
Any other comments, any other questions or comments?
Sorry.
Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes 6-0. Happy for that because I'm a proponent being there. We have a lot of, our staff is large. We are one of the largest employers in this county, in this town, okay? So we are a force that should be, we should represent ourselves and we should also have a seat at the table. And I think that's why that $6,000 is valuable there. We need to keep our pulse on the business pulse of our community and be active. And from time to time, they tell us what they need, and we work with our curriculum to be able to help out with our workforce. So it's been symbiotic before. I hope it will continue. So that's it. I have nothing else to say. Now let me get to back where we were. 10C. Okay. We're going to have a public hearing on our Danville School District budget. And I'll now open the public hearing regarding the proposed budget budget amendment for 2020 and 2021. Are there any questions or comments on this budget?
Yes.
Mr. Davos?
Let's see, I've negotiated for about 45 years and taken all the training with the School Board Association and stuff. I still don't understand budgets. So I'm sure you will help me out. And for anyone who's watching in the public, so it's perfectly clear what we're doing, how are we amending the budget, how much money, what for, all the details.
So I am making adjustments to the budget to take into account the additional revenue that we receive from CARES, the additional expenditures, and then in addition to that, some of the capital projects that when we originally did the budget, through my conversations with Mr. Truex, and we were in this pandemic, so weren't sure we would have the supplies needed. So I'm including some capital projects which the board requested at the time of my original budget. So the amendment would increase my budgeted expenses by $5,877,691, and it would increase my revenue, my budgeted revenue, by $3,411,118.
So what are the projects that you're spending more money on? What are you amending? Tell us exactly what the capital projects are, and so we know how much is spent on each one of them, or budgeted to be spent.
I did not bring my notes from the last board meeting. And I wish Mr. Truex was here. Some of that included the field house changes, the
Parking lots,
DHS parking
HVAC.
lot, the HVAC changes, which is part of the CARES money. And there was something else.
Auditorium.
Yes, the auditorium sound system and acoustics.
Those had been budgeted before though, correct?
They weren't in my capital projects. No, ma'am.
None of them?
Because he wasn't planning,
When the budget was done, it was
originally
pre-CARES.
it was not. And part of it was the pandemic, and he said that. Like, that was our discussion, is that he did not think that we would have, because it was August.
Which is why he went out to bid with them, and they're actually part of this board meeting tonight to approve those those bid specs. And in the meeting, we gave her an entire presentation of all the things that we wanted to add to them.
And at the time, originally, that was a concern of the board, about the capital projects.
Parking lot, auditorium.
And I think
Auditorium is at the sound,
And Mr. Henderson wanted us
and
to,
the curtains and the whole upgrade for that.
Fly.
That some of it was budgeted, but we had additional costs, if I'm not mistaken, is what it was, because the curtains weren't in the original scope of, I think this is what's happening here, that the curtains weren't in the scope of what we were originally just gonna do sound and some lights. And then it got bounced up because it was a larger item that had
the
to be
rigging
taken care of.
system, that's the word, the rigging system.
I'm just, my vague recollection is on that. Okay. Anything else you want to add to that or question?
I have an extremely difficult time voting to amend the budget without knowing exactly what's going to be spent, what money is coming in.
I'll
and
go
doing.
get it.
Okay.
Keys. And it was included in the board notes.
It was just, I just didn't put it with mine. It was included in my original packet when I first originally presented it. I know.
I
Yeah, I know.
just,
I should've
I'm looking
had
at the
it.
you know,
budget
I looked
summary.
at I've looked at the addendums, the attachments for each one of them, but it's hard to read and figure out. Okay, and I really can't understand how we have 5 million more in expenditures and only 3 million more in revenue when we have
Because the additional-
45 million coming in through.
So the difference between the revenue and expenditure is the capital projects, Mr. Davos.
Where's the additional funds coming from then?
That is the CARES money, yes.
CARES, not ESSER. ESSER comes
Which
in July.
was the FY 23 point something $1 million, yes.
So what we're looking at, and forgive me if I sound dumb on this, okay? I just need to be able to understand it, okay? So really, what we're talking about are only things that will be completed through like July 1st. Or that not be completed,
Right,
that are
but we'll
being
start,
done
yes, sir.
in this, in
Yes.
this school year, this budgeted year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the only ones new. Anything after that for next year
It'll be
is
on.
something different.
Yes, sir.
This is
Okay.
not the same thing as ESSER money. This is not the same thing as what we've been discussing
Not
earlier
the-
about school
So the
improvement.
original, as the original CARES money was for FY 20, and so that money was not, was
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all the
That's all your
supplies.
like
hand
just
sanitizers
the,
and
in the
masks.
midst of the pandemic funds. In those expenditures, of course, we,
Yes. I just want to be sure that the
it-
public understands, in light of all the conversation we've had
yeah,
about
we
closing
haven't-
schools, expanding schools, et cetera, that this is not
it's
what's
not.
included in
It is
that.
not.
Okay, then I think I understand what you're talking about. It's just some of the things that we've been talking about, if we could do this year, and so it's this year.
Yes.
It's not next year or the following year, it's just, and it's not the ESSER money.
No, it's the CARES, the original, the first pot that they gave us in the midst of the pandemic, yes.
Okay, then I understand, then I'm okay.
You okay?
I just,
You okay with that?
I didn't understand it that way, and I wanted to be sure that it was made clear, and it is clear to me now.
Okay, that's
Okay,
good.
so I don't
Thank
have
you for
other
that,
questions.
though. I mean, it's nice that we're all,
And it could be confusing with all the conversation that we've had about
Well-
ESSER 1 and 2 and 3, so, yes,
no.
Yep.
yeah.
So, no, I don't have any other questions.
Okay,
Dr. Esther.
thank you, Mr. Davos. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, then I declare the hearing is closed. You're out the door. And then we'll move on to action item 10D, which is, well, it's on here, approval of the District 118 budget. Must be the amended budget, though. It should be the amended budget, even though, yep. The amended budget recommendation. And we've already discussed these attachments, but I'll need a motion and a second for the approval of this amended budget.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now we have the motion and the second. Thank you. Any questions or comments on this? Motion and hand to amend on the budget amendment, which we just discussed. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes 6-0. Thank you very, very much. Spend it wisely.
Thank you, Mrs. Rankin.
Okay, that brings us to item 11. UPS, my favorite company. You're going to upgrade them. They're going to be glad to hear that.
Yeah, they might need it, I guess.
Yeah, good luck with that, though. Go Brown.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Geddes, Annette Hummel, Director of Technology. So tonight I'm here to recommend to approval projects, the UPS and the switch upgrades. The first one is the UPS, which is a universal power supply. That's what
Thank
UPS
you.
stands for.
Oh, disappointed.
It is to replace the ones we already have in the district in the various buildings. So we have, the ones we have are about 5 to 6 years old. They are reaching their end of life and are due for replacement. The ones, we've had a couple already that we've actually had to replace due to the battery failures in them. These keep our systems up and running, and especially during power outages, which we're in that time of year when we tend to have a lot of power outages. So these become pretty vital to keeping everything up and running and prevent any failures from our equipment as well. We've quoted this out and Presidio was able to get us a quote of $90,467.85. This will include the hardware, the labor, and configuration and installation costs. We're needing to do the timing of this, we're needing to do this because of, one, it's becoming critical because we're starting to see failures, But we're also going to do the switch project, and we're going to try to do these at one time to eliminate a lot of downtime. We have been working with our rep, so what we're going to have to do is pay that upfront cost. But we've been working with our E-rate rep, and this is E-rateable, and it is at an 85% reimbursement rate. So the reimbursement rate would be $76,897.67. So would leave the final cost to the district with $13,570.18.
Move approval so that we can ask questions.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments?
This switch upgrade is different than the switch upgrade in 11B,
So this is the UPS upgrade.
okay?
Universal power
That's-
supply.
This is like a battery backup. It kind of
Okay.
keeps things running. The switch upgrade's a little different.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions?
Any other question? What do you do with the old stuff?
That gets, we have worked with K-12 Technologies that will refurbish, and we get kind of a kickback from some of that.
Is that reflected in this quote though, or
No,
is that?
that'll be completely
So
different.
we'll get a kickback.
A little bit.
Don't tell, yeah, I was gonna say, don't tell her. Tell her. Okay, so we take care of the old
Credit.
equipment, it gets taken care of, we're not,
Credit.
yeah,
Credit for
Credit.
old,
For refurbishing
Yeah.
old equipment.
yeah, comes back as 100 debit
Recycle.
cards, I know how that goes. Olive Garden for everybody.
You get a nice gift card to go out to eat.
Yeah. Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. If there aren't any other questions, roll call vote, please.
yes.
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 Yes, motion passes 6-0. Next, you have more.
I do have more.
Oh, and again, and I didn't say it when I read the motion, for the total price of 13,000, what was that, 13,000?
Our final, no, the total cost is $90,000.
I got that, but our cost
Our
is,
cost will be $13,507.18.
that, okay.
Yeah, but it's up front. We have to
But we
pay.
have to
We gotta
pay
pay
the
the 90, I know, we gotta pay
90,000.
the 90,000, so we get it down, so we get the E money,
Yes.
so we da-da-da-da-da, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Got it, thank you.
This one will be a little bit, the next one's a little bit different. We're working with our E-rate rep right now, and we have to pay for the UPS up front. This one, we've already been, the second switch upgrade, we've already been approved on. So with that, this one is, these switches are about 5 to 6 years old, so I believe probably the last time both were replaced at the same time, which is usually what we do. The reason why we do that is because we need to take the systems down, rather than take the system down for the UPS and take the system down for the switch upgrade, you take both of them down at once. Less downtime for everybody. So this one, these are end of life too, unfortunately, so everything's kind of coming at once. Every building has multiple switches within them, so for every device that is used in a building to use for communication within the district, outside of the district, it goes through these switches. So these are very important, especially now with the technology that we're using. So there are about 134 switches that we're replacing total. So the quote for Presidio, and they will do both, the UPS and the switch upgrade, is $781,358.79. That's hardware, software, licensing, their services for 3 years covered. This has already been approved. So this one already has been approved, so we do not have to pay that cost up front. So this is the difference between the two. That we've been approved for $664, $664,154.98, which leaves us a final total of $117,203.82. That's how much we would pay. So I'm recommending the board approve.
We'll have a recommendation, do I?
So, yes, so this one has already been approved by E-rate already.
Okay,
And so we do not
but
have,
you're asking for the difference now.
the only the $117,203.82.
But we already didn't pay for that. But we did pay for that? But we didn't pay for that. Whatever, I'm gonna not be confused. Do I have a motion for,
It's already,
So move.
Second.
okay. Any questions or comments?
I'm glad you know what you're doing.
So E-rate money can be used for a lot of things, I mean, with technology. And I assume that this is an important one to use on right now, okay?
especially projects like these that are very expensive. If we can use that E-rate money, we're going to use that E-rate money.
Well, thanks for explaining what the switches were. That's good, because I don't know.
It's the backbone of your network.
Okay,
is,
good.
it
What makes everything talk.
All right.
Being the backbone of our network, and these switches are very important, there's also then, if this doesn't work right, everything has to work for everything to work right. And that's why I'm going, if this was happening in my office, I would go, oh my God, this better be, and when is this all gonna happen, and how do we know it happens before? And I'm assuming it's gonna be sometime over the summer.
Our hope, so that's, I've been in, I've been in many conversations with the company, and that's why we're kind of trying to do this, ask for this now, is because of the chip shortage. They're starting to notice that things are getting a little bit behind schedule. And we're hoping that we can get this done now, get it ordered now, to get it in hopefully.
What time of day would be over weekend and at night?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, we would do that, if we can do it in the summer, we'll do it in the summer, but if everything doesn't arrive, we'll do it at night, we'll do it at weekend, we'll do Christmas break, any
And it takes-
free time we can do it and not minimize
A day or two or three
weeks.
weeks? Okay, and then just,
It's at every
and but,
building, so
but
every
it's
building's
just the
gonna get a
system where the switches, I mean, all you're doing is upgrading the switches, so other places could be functional, the whole system doesn't go down.
Correct, except for when we get to the high school, because that's our main hub.
So then it's gonna
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to all happen there.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, any other questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader?
Yes.
Mr. Dobbins?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. Edison?
Yes, passes 6-0. Thank you very much. You've been very successful up there. Seems to be something with that department. That brings us to building and grounds.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Skip Truex. And this evening I have for you the DHS boilers and hot water system. On May 19th, we had our bid opening and 5 companies placed bids for a boiler replacement at Danville High School. We had Venture Mechanicals, Reliable Plumbing, Helm Service, A&R Mechanical, and Frank Straw. After all bids were reviewed by myself, Skip Truex, and GHR Engineers, it is our recommendation that the contract be awarded to Venture Mechanicals with a base bid of $837,648. It was the lowest bid.
They also happen to be a Danville company. I always ask that to Mr. Truex, right?
Yes,
They are local.
Okay.
Would you like to make a motion to accept that?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we accept that bid.
We have a second?
At,
Oh, I'm sorry.
at Venture for $837,648.
Thank you. That was a very thorough motion. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
May I have a thorough second?
I second it thoroughly.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
I have some comments. Let me say that we have since been informed that while we thought there would be a 1 or 2 week lead time, they have informed us this today that there's a 12-week delay in materials alone. Before we could even begin to start the process, it is minimum 12 weeks,
So September.
which puts us,
Don't
puts
worry,
us
it's
But I need those boilers in before the
Never
winter.
gets cold. It never gets cold early here. It'll be fine. We don't need boilers for air conditioning. The boilers that we have work now. Let's just put off another year.
Okay, no,
We can put them in the field house and store them.
no.
Okay. Mr. Davos.
What are we getting for the 837?
Boiler?
1, 2,
I
3?
thought it was 5 boilers. Isn't it?
There's 7 up there?
I don't know.
Come on, Mr. Truex, you usually
The
do better
boiler
than-
system. And a flux capitulator.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I thought this was this was a multiple boiler scheme.
Seemed
That's a
like it
boiler
was.
system for Danville High School.
Yeah. We don't know how many that it's going to be. We have to take it on faith, Mr. Davos. That's up to
Fine,
you.
we've gone over this already, but okay. It's several.
Yeah, it should be. When it, like, with 3 or,
Something
I'm
like
thinking
that, so
3
we'd
and
have-
5 and those
I
numbers.
can't remember because
Yeah.
I get confused with Southwest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skip, you text me for everything else. Where's the text message for that? I know you're watching because he's watching. He's watching because he's texting.
He's laughing. Okay, come on,
Should
Skip.
have told him he should have added in his.
What'd he
memo.
say?
And his,
It's delayed, so they're seeing it after, so I'm texting.
We're okay, Dr. Ashton.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davos. If there aren't any other comments, or we'll just vote. So roll call vote, please. It is for the motion of, as Mrs. Halloran said, $837,648 to venture mechanical contractors after they do the job.
5. Thank you, guys.
Oh, that's a deal. I don't know about your boilers, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Skip.
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Captain Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Dowd,
Yes.
Mrs. Pierce,
Yes.
and Dr. Ashton.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. We have
And the
5
hot water
boilers.
system is included.
It did say something about a hot water system, whatever that means, but okay, good. We like it.
Thank you, Skip.
All right, that brings us to,
The purchase. Is it the
yeah, 12.
Okay. I've received 2 quotes from local auto dealerships for a new service truck for the Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Department. Both trucks were quoted at the state bid price. The dealerships submitting quotes were as follows: Vermilion Chevrolet for $31,747, and Courtesy Ford for $29,934. It is our recommendation that we buy the Chevrolet Silverado 1-ton 4-wheel drive instead of the 3/4 ton heavy. It's a heavier duty. Don't I sound like I know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
you don't know. It's a 1-ton versus a 3/4 ton truck. Besides, they're different trucks. It's,
I move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Yeah,
So you don't want me to talk about the flux
You second?
capitulator?
Yeah, I did.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
What color?
None?
Stop it.
See none? Roll call vote, please.
Silverado color.
Yes.
Mr. Ryder,
Yes.
Captain Miller,
Yes.
Help me, Lord.
Mr. Dowd,
Yes.
Dr. Ashton.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. We now have a Silverado truck.
Before you go on, I got to ask Mrs. Hummel another question. When you were talking about Presidio, what are we talking, what's that?
Oh, they're the company that is doing the installation and configuration.
And they're the company that does that, and we don't have bids or anything? There's just a certain amount of money that you pay, that's set up that these things cost, or what?
So we will put out, so for E-rate, we have to put out bids. And then they put it out to multiple companies. Presidio is the company that came in with the lowest quote. So we tell them what we need.
The E-rate process actually does it for us as a part of the 470 is tell the world what we want. The 471 process is the response to that. And based on that and E-rate's guidelines, that's how you choose. It's
Okay.
in-
Presidio was the low bid, but we haven't seen the bids, but it's handled through E-rate. Okay. Okay, sorry.
Thanks for that, Mr. Davos, because I was wondering how we got to that too. But I assumed it was something like that, because my question was, did we negotiate for something better? And so, but we're here already.
And the truck is white.
Thank you. Mowing contract extension. What's your recommendation, Skip?
I would like to extend the mowing and snow removal contracts for 3 more years.
Do you want to do them both together?
I can start with the mowing.
Let's do
wanna
the
go?
mowing. Let's do the mowing. Let's just separate. Okay, for 3 years?
The mowing lawn care is currently done by John Cookus Lawn Care. And we would extend that for $2,500 per mow. And he is a local company. And we only had one bid, let me say that as well.
Is there a difference between C and D? 12C and 12D?
One is mowing and one is snow.
No.
But there
One
was
is
mowing
grass
and
and one
snow
is
on
snow.
both, included in both of them.
We just put it on the same paper, that's all.
I have C as mowing and I have D as snow.
But okay.
I move approval.
Oh, I see. You know what? Let's do 12D, mowing and snow removal.
That's what he was saying.
Okay, got it.
I move approval of 12C and 12D for mowing and snow removal
Got it. I see.
of the bid.
Okay, and explain this, okay, but before we do that, the snow removal, explain that. Is it the same thing?
So the snow removal is actually $140 per hour. And the beauty of using Midwest Asphalt Company is that they stage their equipment right here with us year round. So it cuts down on the lead time that we would have to wait if we had a company, say in Champaign or something, we'd have to wait for them to get here to remove the snow. They actually house their equipment on site, and so it allows for a very quick turnaround time. I would like to also say we only had one bid.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, the motion was for snow and mowing. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Steve. Yep.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. That brings us to number 13, informational items. What do you have for us?
We'll have a lot. Okay, let's start with DHS sports. They're in full swing with soccer, tennis, baseball, softball, and track. Everyone's competing, so good luck to the girls' track team. They are going to the Big 12 conference, and that meet was today, am I right? Any word from Basie's? No?
I don't have enough.
Okay, all right. Next, congratulations to all of our senior scholarship winners and the senior service award winners. Big thank you to Ms. Tracy Cherry and her prize patrol team and our board members who went out with them. Everyone was around town on Monday and Tuesday this week delivering scholarships, awards, and balloons. Great job. Our DHS graduation is on Saturday, June 5th at 5 o'clock. The rain date is Sunday, June 6th inside the Palmer Arena. Northridge Middle School, the graduation is out on the Ned Witzel Field. Northridge's 8th grade promotion ceremony is Tuesday, June 8th at 7 o'clock. Parents, please get your child registered for summer school. As we know, many of our students suffered learning loss. Registration is happening now. Thank you, Keisha. Please get your children registered. For summer school. What do you say? Oh, no, I'm not ready for that one. I don't want them registered? Yes. Oh, okay. Had me confused. All right, next, let's celebrate some retirees. We'd like to say congratulations to our class of 2020-21 retirees for our staff. Michael Arns, 5 years. Susan Barnes, 9 years. Jamie Biava. 24 years. Lisa Burgess, 33 years. Scott Burgess, 33 years.
They're related.
David Cripe, 23 years. Jana Drennan, 17 and a half years. Mrs. E, thank you. 5 years. Catherine Hafner, 24. Don Hall, 5 years. Don Hiddle, 21 years. Ted Houghton, 31 and a half years. Laura Earl, 18 and a half years. Joan Janeski, 24 years. Kimberly Lindsay, 33 years. Linda Luke, 16 years. Laura Mesky, 2.5 years. Angela Mitchell, 27 years. Richard Prentice, 4 years. Deb Brushin, 10 years. Carl Shaw, 31 and a half years. Miss Spillman, still can't say her first name. I know it's Drake, but you call her Miss Spillman. 25 and a half years. Brett Springer, 34 years. Elizabeth Strader, 27 years. Reginald Vincent, 12 and a half years. Anita Walter, 26 and a half years. Gregory Williams, 25 years. Congratulations. But I want to add someone to that. I want to add to it Mrs. Kathy Delzell, who actually retired after she spent 35 and a half years as a special ed teacher. She returned to us as a full-time sub and a teaching assistant for 1 year at Northridge, and then we hired her as a full-time TA at Northridge. She's been in that position for 4 years. She's the advisor for the Kiwanis Builders Club at Northridge for 24 years. She's one of the recipients of our Teachers of the Year Award, the Golden Apple, and back in the 2000s, and she is calling it quits. So I wanted to put her with this graduating class and say thank you to all of your what's the matter? Why are you looking at me? 30. So I want to say thank you to our retirees, and the Board of Education will be out to celebrate you shortly. Any comments?
That's a lot of years and a lot of talent that we're losing, and so thank you to those.
Good.
I have more. Okay, so we want
Before you go on, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Molly? She leave?
She's right there.
Molly, like if somebody retires and you can't hire a special ed teacher, can they come back and teach?
As a special ed, you mean a special ed teacher?
Yeah.
120 days.
120 days.
120 days or because can they work all year?
No.
They're looking to go back 120 days.
They're looking to go back to 100 actually, but it's not been signed yet.
Wasn't there was just like a year or so ago or 2 years ago where you could work all year, you could come back?
No.
It's 120 days.
It went out from 100 to 120, now they're looking to go back to 100.
We do have several special education TAs right now that were formerly
I'm sorry.
Go out here, let's come back home.
We have all of that, but.
Okay.
Can I go on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. We want to remind our staff that it's okay to need help. We've put this information from Blue Cross Blue Shield out. I'm going to actually send it as a D118 blast tomorrow to remind our team to take care of your mental health, to cope with what life may bring. And mental health is just as important as our physical health. The plan that we already have, if you are a plan participant, it includes access to mental health care like therapy and medicines that might help. You and your family members can deal with any of the issues that you may be facing, and virtual visits are an option, as well as this Well on Target program that Blue Cross Blue Shields. They actually have articles and videos and tools to help you, and a 12-week online course free of charge to help you sleep better and to handle stress. That is available on our website, and then I will actually send it out to all of the staff as a part of my Superintendent Corner message that comes out after every board meeting.
Like to get us, are there co-pays on that?
Yes.
Is there any possibility?
That is not the EAP program, that's just kind of what's with it.
Is there any possibility with our ESSER money that we can, because mental health was a key issue, that we can pay for that?
There is if the board so directs me.
We'll look into that.
We can look, we can't do it now.
No, we can't do it now because
but it would
but
seem
that's
like we could use that money and there's a definite need.
let's have a
No?
discussion.
We can have a discussion and bring that back to you.
The next agenda.
Next agenda. Got it. I want to thank Melissa Rome. We completed our first dose Pfizer clinic at Mark Denman. Thank you to all of my county counterparts. So far, we were able to vaccinate 233 students across Vermilion County. We will have the second dose clinic on May 28th, I believe is my date. June 12th, thank you. To come back to Mark Denman, we will need to shorten the hours. It will be from 9 to 12. We will send that information out to you. The link has gone out, and you must register your child again for that second shot, so please do so. There are still opportunities to get vaccinated with the first shot at the county health department, OSF, Carl, VA, Aunt Martha's. Some private providers are doing it, and then all major pharmacies in Vermilion County are doing the same. So please take advantage of this opportunity. Next, I want to, and I hope he stayed on, Mr. Neil Kimball. Just cannot believe the opportunity he's presented to our students. He is actually the founder and CEO of Family Table Time, and he and I happened to meet. He so he was on Shark Tank, right? And they're in cahoots with Fortnite, who's about to take this as an app. And he was looking for a district really to partner with, and he and I happened to meet, and I thought it was a phenomenal idea. They have Table Talk. Remember, we did the cards last summer. Well, these are actually like placemats that will come, and it will give conversation starters, and then you, at the placemat as a family, you guys go ahead and create or write on the placemat just the opportunity to bring you together and have family time. And so we would like to make this available to the first 2,000 parents this summer for June and July. We will send you one once a week. We'll make it available. But the Board of Education has given me the ability to do one better. Each week, we will actually give you one family dinner for free when you come to get, or when we deliver to you, your family table time packet, trying to promote this conversation or the ability to come to the table as a family. So thank you, Board of Education, for partnering with me, to pay for this, and to give me the money to be able to provide the dinner. The link will go out that you can register. It should be available, if you can give me till Friday to create it. You can reach out to your building principal and let them know you are interested to get on the list. If you can just give me till Friday so I can get the spreadsheet or the Google Doc that Mary Ellen Button will create for me, make it available. And then parents can sign up, and I can take the first 2,000 parents for our district. It's to have the table time conversation activities and the meal that will go with it that we will deliver, or you can pick up once a week. So thank you, Board of Education, for that partnership. And thank you, Mr. Neil Kimball, for that wonderful, wonderful connection. I think, Ms. Zeta Pizzo, one more thing. The Food Service Department Community Support Program. So last time I came to you and said we had a decrease in the participation and the numbers were going down. And so we're going to need to consolidate the food distribution. But Ms. Peugeot wanted to do one better. She would like to mobilize and take her show on the road in the bus. So what she says, she wants to mobilize the school nutrition department in order to provide meals to the communities it needs. We're going to obtain 6 first student buses, which will be loaded for meals for anyone 18 and older. The bags will be packed for 5 days of breakfast and lunch meals. The menu will be created and made more from the scratch entrees than processed products. And the meals will be provided under the summer food service program. The target date for us to start this is June 18th. That's the date we like to make the first mobile delivery from 11:30 to 1 o'clock at the following locations: Fair Oaks, Vermilion Gardens, Southview Community. At the Southview Community, we're gonna go to Southview. We'll do Mead Park. Did I do 5? And I think Jackson North, but I know Mead Park. So a bus will sit there for 60 to 90 minutes every Friday for 8 to 9 weeks based on the need. And so I really hope with us coming out to you, we will be able to increase our participation as the state has asked us to do, because they're going to give us the same reimbursement rate that they've given us all during this COVID season. We will begin to distribute flyers on the program by the end of the school year. We'll send them home with the kids, as well as provide side panel banners on each of the designated buses for distribution so people know where to go. And we'll send a phone blast out so parents know that this is available. This is available to them, and I hope that we'll be able to reach the families that are in need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any board comments?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say that I was one of the 4 board members that went out to Northeast. But I was a little offended this evening that you started your comment that my questions about Northeast and the percentage of African-American students was racist. It was racial. It was not racial. It was a question from parents. Now, just like all the rest of the board members, I don't decide who sends me emails and who asks me questions. My job is to get answers. And I feel like that because I'm an African-American board member, I can't ask that question, but I can, and I will, and I will continue to. It was not set to say that I had a problem about that. I was asking a question that several parents had asked me. I even had the same question asked to me at church last Sunday, and I stated that at the meeting. So my question about Northeast or any other building or any other thing that's happening in this district will be asked just like any other board member will ask a question. I'm sorry that you felt that way. The question was also asked of me, why didn't I just call the building? My statement is, I don't call buildings. I will call Mr. Hart, I would call Dr. Jacoby, and I will call Dr. Geddes. And the reason that I don't is because when I was a principal, to have 7 different board members calling me asking questions, and sometimes the same question, I thought was a little annoying. I had other things to do. So, my job, and I said that, there is one person that this board is responsible for. One. So therefore, I feel that I owe principals, department heads, and all those other people respect by going through that one person that I am responsible for. So I appreciated being able to sit down with Northeast staff. I thought they had great questions. I thought they had great opinions, and you heard a lot of them tonight. But I will not be tagged as the racial board member. I won't.
And that was not my intent in any way to tag you that way.
Well, thank you. But I just want you to know, whatever questions, I don't care who it is that sends me a question. And Dr. Jacoby tell me, we had one about a bus stop. Whatever the question, I don't have the answers. And my expectation is that they will get me the answers. I appreciate Mr. Thornton giving me the information he gave me on the breakdown. I understand it better. I understand your waiting list better, so that I am able now to sit down with that parent and say, now this is what they said. This is what comes out of Skyward, because that's what you gave me. And if you still have questions, because the two parents that had specific questions are first graders. And I saw that that's where your biggest waiting list is at your first grade. But that's also something that I will probably talk to Mr. Hart and Dr. Geddes about, because as I said to you, if you fill up your kindergarten the next year as first grade, if they stay, there's no room for new kids. And I think there should be. So.
I'll follow up on that. May I?
Okay.
Thank you. And thanks to the Northeast staff for coming and parents. It's not easy to stand up and voice concerns, especially when there's been some controversy. I stay awake at night thinking about these things, and I'm usually the Pollyanna that's here with good news, but tonight I don't feel that way. Following up on your comments, Mrs. Carey, the thing that happened is that you put out to the public a number, a 6% number that was incorrect. And that upset a lot of people. They did a lot of homework. They showed you, they showed me, they showed others who went. I asked at the last board meeting that the correct information be presented to the public, because when you asked the question, it went out to the community. It went out to the press, it went out to the community, and that number was used. And to date, including tonight's meeting, the correct information has not been presented in public. All the data that Mr. Thornton put together has not been corrected as far as that 6% number. We've not heard it unless we got the information directly ourselves. So I believe the community is owed the correct information when we bring things to the public. You're right. We do our homework. We ask the right people, but then we present the right information. And if we made a mistake, we also present that and we correct that. So the other thing, I do have a few other concerns. Our ability to communicate amongst ourselves and with the public, it's been evident over the last couple of meetings that we have a problem. An example, more than a year ago, 2 studies were commissioned by this board. One was a strategic planning committee led by Mr. Denman, Judy Myers, and Janet Alexander. Many people met, if not close to 100 people, met and identified issues that affect the success of our district. A report was given to us on July 29th, 2020, and despite requests from many who participated in this study, the information has not been shared publicly or in bits and pieces. Has it on the website?
Mr. Doubles, has it?
What?
She's asking
The
about the
strategic
sharing of
plan
the information
committee.
for the strategic, because that's not a Geddes decision.
Dr. Geddes, the information was given to you. I assumed that you would have shared that with board members and sent that out. If you didn't, then it should be sent out now.
No, let's stop, wait.
Okay.
No. I was directed. I gave the information, and Doc, correct me if I'm wrong. I gave the information to the people to whom I was directed to give it to. I had scheduled to have meetings and continue to do so and have conversations about it, and those meetings were stopped. So no, that's not a Geddes thing.
Okay, I'm not sure how they got stopped, but in fact, the information is well over a year old on the strategic plan and its result. And people are asking that participated. They're asking about what it was, what the final report was.
They're not asking the superintendent, because the superintendent had no control over giving that information out.
Okay.
I want that to be clear.
Okay, all right, then I guess I'm asking. The board hasn't even, as a board, discussed the results. Furthermore, I'm aware, because a couple of people contacted me, the chairs of this committee was invited to a community group who studies issues and report to one of their sort of an academic group. And the chairs were invited to discuss the strategic plan, since many people in that community group participated in the strategic plan. They did attend and they discussed the process, but they were given a directive that they couldn't talk about the plan or its results. And the members of this committee this community group were kind of upset about that.
Well, let me address that, since I was the one who had the conversation with Judy Myers for 35 minutes. And see, it would be nice, this is what we're talking about, these gotcha conversations that lead to this. This could have been handled when we talk about communication, this could have been handled. Judy Myers called me. The Board of Education, you guys hadn't received that information. I have no control of giving it to you. You hadn't received it, so I could not allow a community to go out and discuss your results when you hadn't discussed it.
I understand
So
that.
I asked her. She said, well, what can I do? I said, well, what about the process? Go and tell about the process. And as soon as the Board of Education discusses what you're going to do with this data, and you guys are talking about synthesizing the information, this is what you guys are saying. Once you do that and have the respect that then they can go ahead and talk to the process, talk about the results, but they can't talk about them before you guys do. And you're in the midst of working on that right now.
Right, I understand that. And what I'm thinking about is the timeline. As I said, this study was shared with you on July
Not you.
29th.
No.
Whoever it was shared with, not me.
The board president, the board vice president, the superintendent, Hart and Geddes, and then we were given directive about how that was going to handle. So that's not a Geddes issue.
Okay. I'm not sure that I'm just directing this to you.
But you're saying that to me.
Well, no, I'm saying it in general. I'm asking questions of you in which you're answering.
Okay.
And that is the communication that I'm talking about, okay? July 29th, 2020 is a long time. And I guess I'm just wondering, what is our timeline? When will we hear about this? And now, a lot of that information is fairly moot since we went through the pandemic and there are lots of changes anyway. And then to follow up on that, the board commissioned a consultant to investigate our environment. What was working, what wasn't, the morale of our staff and parents. The study was completed and sent to administration and the board on February 12th, 2020. Hundreds of people participated in that effort, and yet the information has not been made public. It's been referred to several times, the Liz Small report, but it has not been made public, and the board hasn't even discussed that report as a whole. We have not. And then, of course, what we've already discussed at length tonight is the facilities discussion, and this all goes back to the communication that I started the conversation with. There were substantial changes being considered, to say the least, shook up the community. My question is this: what plan is there for further discussion of these ideas? The pros, the cons, alternatives, the timeline? I haven't heard that. I haven't heard when are we going to talk about this more? What is the timeline? I've heard 30 days. I've heard 3-year plan. I've heard some things, but I kind of want to know, what are we looking at and when are we going to talk about this some more? I just think we need to do a better job in communicating where we are with these ideas. We need to be open to listen to our parents as we did tonight, our community, and most importantly, our teachers and our students who are affected by these decisions. I know that I want my voice and concerns heard. I don't want it to be threatening. I don't mean it to be. But I do think that we need to have open communication and open dialogue with one another. It includes listening to these reports and listening to the people who have things to say to us. And I want to be open to that. I want to let the community know I'm open to that. And to you, Dr. Geddes, that I am indeed open to that.
Well, go ahead, Dora.
I'm done.
Yeah, we've just started working together here, and we have not set up the agenda of when we're going to do the strategic plan. We've discussed the strategic plan. I wish I could give you an answer when we're going to have it done, when we're going to do it, and how the process is going to be, but I don't have those answers for you at the moment. Yes, it's one of the things that needs to get done. My question is, what information did you get? Did you get the small report?
I did.
Okay, has everybody seen that information? Okay, has everybody had all the information that, okay, so the board has this stuff. Okay, so you've had time, so we have plenty of time to digest it. So all we have to do is move on and figure out how we're going to formulate the report, which we're not gonna do in comments, okay? This is supposed to be public comments, not what this is. All this stuff could have been taken care of if we would have just spoken with each other, but that's okay. I mean, now it's out, we will take care of this,
I
okay?
have an informational item. Quickly.
Is there, first of all,
The only reason I brought it to public comments is because it's the public who are asking me these questions.
That's fine, but you could also have asked these questions. It doesn't have to be at the public comment time. We'd be more than glad to answer any of these questions. So, but that, I'm just saying that. If there's anything, if there's nothing else, go ahead, Ms. Schrader.
Okay, I also had a chance to visit Northeast today. I was there, and Mr. Thornton and his staff were very gracious. I got a lot of good questions answered, and they did give me some of the breakdown that I think some of the staff heard, and I just wanted to really quickly, because we've talked about the numbers that weren't correct, so I wanted to also give some of the numbers that are correct. And these numbers are public information. And if you have a question about the numbers, the equity numbers, the breakdown in your children's school, you could certainly contact the principal of any school in our building, or you could talk to Mr. Hart for the elementary schools, or Dr. Jacoby for the upper elementary schools. And this is all, the district is an open book as far as our equity numbers. But I can tell you that the last Northeast ethnicity report, and this is as of April the 30th, was the white student population is 42%. The Black student population, multiracial population, is 19%. Hispanic is 13%. And then it's the Black African American is 25%. So we're talking about, and then there's a less than 1% for zero or Asian or Pacific Islander. I hope I got that correct, Mr. Thornton. You flag me down if I'm doing it incorrectly. So we have a very good diversity mix in that building. Every classroom that I visited today came across that way in real life as well. And I think that the community would be very happy to know that, and I'm sure you saw it also,
Yes.
Mrs. Carey, that these students get along. It is a wonderful melting pot of our community, and it was just a wonderful sight to behold. Northeast we have great schools all over, but I just wanted those numbers to come out there because we've talked about what we didn't have, and I wanted the community to also know what we did have. And there's a breakdown as far as the volunteer opportunities. There have been no students that have been dismissed from the building because of lack of parental volunteering for 3 years, and it's partly been because of COVID. They've waived those volunteer requirements. So there's a lot of good information out there, really solid information out there. And I just wanted the community to feel, of course, you can contact any of the board members. We are definitely going to turn it around and contact our administrative team because we're not the experts. But definitely feel like you can contact your building principals because they're there to help you. Every building, they really care about our parents and our families and especially our students. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is I got to be part of that prize patrol, and I was sticking signs all weekend for these seniors. And it was one of the most fun, exhausting, but fun experiences. And moms and dads and grandmas, I had some dads taking pictures. We had these big guys holding their little baby brothers and sisters by the sign. It was such an incredible moment. So I just want to applaud Ms. Cherry and also Erin Griffin and some of the other staff that put all of this together, Amanda Campbell from DHS, because what a massive puzzle piece to make that happen. And it was so appreciated. It was so appreciated. And that one-on-one with the kids is why we do what we do. And sometimes what you see up here is adults that are kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of it because we care, and it's also about the process. But bottom line, and I speak for all of us, we care about the kids. That's why we do what we do, and that's why we get so passionate about it sometimes. So it was a treat this week for me, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mr. Thornton, for hosting us.
Thank you. Any comments?
Me?
Any of you?
Okay, I would just like to say, I want to thank Dr. Geddes for the Grow Our Own that
Definitely.
is going to do so much to help us with the shortage of teachers, especially minority teachers. And the dean from Eastern that has worked very hard already to include our students and bringing them in to even a summer school opportunity to receive college credits. And so I'm very grateful and thankful to God tonight, to Dr. Geddes and everyone that's been working on that particular project, and all the other hard work that's been going on in our district as we, again, Ms. Schrader was saying, get a little tense sometimes with what we're trying to do, but I know that there's a great effort being made to bring the best results that we possibly can for our district, administrators, our teachers, collectively, I bring my Bible in now. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. So as long as we remain united for the common goal of making sure that we do our very best for our students, and then everybody else, Dr. Geddes also mentioned even the mental health thing. This COVID has put an extreme strain mentally on people. So we've got to keep that in mind also, what we are coming out of and we're still dealing with. And I'm going to continue to pray for everybody that we'll do okay. We'll continue to work together as a unit, as one. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dawes?
Mrs. Rankin, just wanted to thank you about the budget because clearly I was confused, okay? And after our discussion at last board meeting, looked like, well, here's all the stuff that's gonna be spent, you need to know what it's like. And clearly this is just this year's budget through the end of this year. And you made that clear, and I think that's important to make that clear to the public. And so if we do any of those things that we've talked about at last board meeting, then that still has to be, maybe, have we approved a budget for this year yet?
For this year, yes, next year, no.
I mean, for next year? No. We'll still approve that by August, okay. And so we won't have to amend it because we'll have our ESSER money and we can figure it out and put all those things in there and we'll know exactly what we're spending our money on for capital projects. Just wanted to thank you for helping me out. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dawes. My comments are brief. Congratulations to the retarees. We certainly appreciate all that you've done and all the work and all the years that you put in. So here, we hit one thing we can all agree on up here. So it's rare, but we'll do 6-0 on that also. So look forward to graduation and all the wonderful things that are going on, and we really do appreciate it. And we'll see you at our next meeting, which will be, do you know when that is, Lakeisha, by any chance? Thank you.
June.
And can't wait for it. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
That's the same night as opening for Rising Tide. Just saying.